Are you struggling to establish boundaries with a narcissist or get to the place where you're maintaining no contact or it actually isn't any interaction between? Maybe you're at the place where you want to regain control of your life and to break free of that toxic cycle of interaction or the toxic cycles that you've seen in person to person to person. Going no contact can be a really, really hard piece for people to be able to do, for people to walk through. Sometimes it's along the lines of like, I don't want to go no contact because that feels mean or that feels abusive in doing that. Understand that going no contact, and when we talk about it in the frame of narcissistic abuse, it's always meant as a way not to punish the other person, not to teach the other person a lesson, but for you to actually get free mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically from this person so that you have the opportunity and oftentimes the capacity to heal. So many times you're in a toxic relationship that doesn't give you the ability to even heal or to access that healing because you're constantly getting triggered. And there's not a way to continue moving forward in your healing, in your growth, and in your development. So today we're going to talk about going no contact and how it's a means of detaching from the narcissist influence, how that actually works, and a couple practical tools going into it. Talking about going no contact, a little bit about parenting, and then how do you actually go about the process? Like, what is the first step in going no contact with a toxic person? If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations, the creator of the Narc app, and your guide in the 7-day challenge that you can access at escapetoxicity.com. It's a 7-day challenge to healing. 7 days, $7 total. It gives you lifetime access and a community that's going through the challenge at the same exact time. Join to learn about narcissistic abuse, reactive abuse, the guilt of being with a narcissist, how we start to teach the formula of the triggers that control you to be able to get free from the narcissist grip. Join today at escapetoxicity.com. So when we talk about this aspect of blocking, when we talk about this aspect of getting free from the narcissist, going no contact, what does that actually look like? First point I want to be able to point out for you is going no contact is blocking and oftentimes ghosting the other person. Like when we talk through this aspect of no contact, it means severing all forms of communication. That there is no way for you to interact with this person, that there's no way for them to interact with you. It means you're cutting off all access to you. This means going through and blocking on all different aspects, blocking on all social media, blocking on your email, blocking on your phone, going in all different levels to try to make sure that you actually have the capacity to be free from this person. This might be blocking the phone number. This might be changing your phone number. All social media accounts. This might be going through different Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, different things where you're actually having to figure out, how do I block this person? How do I make sure that they can't actually contact me? Again, this whole aspect of blocking is not out of an abusive nature, but is out of a self-preservation measure. To get to the place of saying, hey, if I block this person, I will have less triggers on a day-to-day basis. I would get less thrown off every single day because this person cannot control me. They're no longer in my life activating, pressing my buttons, and all those different aspects. Getting to this place where you have no interaction with the narcissist, that there's not a way online or offline for there to be this interaction. Now, you can't help it if he shows up at your work or if he walks in the door, at the place where you work, or you're at a restaurant, or, if he just shows up at your house. Okay, you don't have access to be able to prepare for every single piece, but you do have access to keep no contact in all other ways all the time so that you're able to start down the healing process. When you do this, when you start to create a barrier between you and the toxic person, you start to reclaim your power and eliminate the potential of the manipulation and the emotional turmoil that's going to come from being with a toxic person. So think of it this way. If the narcissist tries to contact you via text, okay, maybe he started texting you on a brand new number, resist the urge to respond, knowing that anything they say in that moment is only going to be a ploy to get you back in the relationship. Delete their messages, block their number, make sure that there's no communication. When you remove access to you, you take a step forward in reclaiming your peace of mind, and how you move forward in your self-esteem and building yourself back up. So if they try to contact you on different numbers, you might have to get to the place where you even change your number. It's really easy to do today, and you can always do that and still text everybody from the same numbers from your phone saying, hey, here's my new number, please don't share it with anyone. Well, then you get to the next stage, which is people normally like, wait a second, excuse me, I can't go no contact because I have a kid. Okay, so I want to dive into just a little bit, talking through the aspect of co-parenting, which is really just called parallel parenting. Co-parenting really doesn't exist when you're working with a toxic person, because it's the idea that you guys are working together for a common good, for the kids, right? Co-parenting doesn't really exist because a narcissist is not willing on working together and working with you. They're worried about getting control over you and manipulating you or sticking it to you, making you feel bad, all these different aspects. So they're going to use the kids to control, to manipulate, to get you to do different things. So you have to understand that this concept that you're moving into is called parallel parenting. Parallel parenting is where the two of you have separate lives with the kids. So when the kids have a doctor's appointment on your day, you take them to the doctor's appointment. When the kids have a doctor's appointment on his day, he takes them to the doctor. And you don't crisscross. You don't interact. Because you want to be able to keep it as separate as possible. For those of you that are dealing with your partner that's narcissistic, like getting to a place of no contact is very difficult. It is not impossible though. If you say it's impossible, it is impossible for your life. But if you say, hey, then what is the possibility? Who would I need to become to actually implement this aspect? What would I need to do? Who would I need to contact? What would need to happen? A lot of times when we talk about this aspect of going no contact in a relationship with a child involved, a lot of times it can be challenging unless you are able to utilize a couple things. First off would be having a parenting agreement, custody agreement, but then also a communication agreement. Communication of like, this is how we are going to communicate every single time, no exceptions. Okay, so it might be 100% email. Might be 100% going through a third-party app for communication, for interaction, for on the phone, for text, for anything like that for the kids. Okay, depending on what age level the kids are. But getting to the place of saying like, hey, we're only going to communicate on this. There's a lot of court-approved ones that are out there. Check with your state, check with your attorney to see what actually works best in the location that you actually are in. But using a third-party app with communication helps to give a buffer. Okay, because again, we're trying to be able to expand out some barriers so that you have capacity to heal. So when you use a third-party app, it lets you be able to control it. So you're not getting a notification being like, like you feel it every time. Instead, you're able to take a moment and look at it piece by piece as needed. Okay, so this is why a third-party app can be so crucial. In other cases, not just using a third-party app for communication, but also doing it for drop-offs. Okay, dropping off the kids, like crisscrossing at school or a friend's house, or having a nanny or a babysitter like be in the house like during a period of time so that you don't have to interact with this person. Like this is the whole goal of like, I need to figure out how I create these barriers or this space. Okay, we're looking for capacity when we're talking about this with narcissistic abuse in a co-parenting situation so that you can actually heal. The whole goal of this is to minimize or completely eliminate contact with the toxic person to protect yourself and to protect your kids from more manipulation. So this is a piece you'll have to see over and over that's very hard, but there's a lot of people that have actually done it. Okay? Co-parenting apps are huge. If you can get on a co-parenting app, that is essential, especially if you can get it in a co-parenting agreement. Now, if you get on the co-parenting agreement and it says use a co-parenting app, a third-party co-parenting app, and the narcissist is like, I'm not doing it, block them on everything and say, hey, be willing to chat with you inside the co-parenting app. And then you can show the court, say, hey, he didn't comply. He didn't actually do what he says he's going to do. I said, hey, you can have the kids. I say you can do like these different things inside the third-party app, and he didn't show up. So that's him not being willing to actually do his part. So sometimes you have to toe the line really hard. Be careful, some of those different nuances, but want to just put it out there. Okay, the third point I want to be able to put out is sometimes people are like, how do I go no contact? What do I do? Okay, and sometimes it's not enough to just say block, ghost, go no contact. They're like, okay, but like, what do I do? Okay, one of the biggest pieces is people are like, maybe I should give them a reason. Maybe I should tell them. Maybe I should like give them a heads up, all those different type of things. One of the things I want you to understand is typically when you go and when you tell a narcissist that you're leaving, it can either ramp up abuse, it could ramp up control and manipulation, it could make them try to convince you to not leave. How many of you have actually tried to leave and the narcissist convinced you to stay? Type in me in the chat. Like, help other people to know of like, oh, that was me. Like, people are not alone. Because a lot of times when you go to a narcissist being like, hey, I think we need to break up. I need space. I need this. I'll change. I'll do better. I'll work on this. I'll go to therapy. And all the future faking, all the different aspects of love bombing come out, and you start to question yourself. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I should stay. Maybe I should give another chance. And so by getting to the place where you silently implement just going no contact, you avoid providing them with the opportunity to manipulate or guilt trip you into staying in contact. It allows you to focus, once again, it allows you to focus on your healing and reclaim your life without this unnecessary interference from the toxic person. Going no contact is about getting space and capacity for healing. Now, whether you're in the relationship or whether you're out and no contact or out in general of the relationship, what I want you to be able to check out is go to escapetoxicity.com. The link is in the bio for you to be able to see, hey, this is how we actually work through this. This is how we actually teach how you break free mentally and emotionally from the toxic person. If you're like, hey, I just want more help and I want to be able to dive in as quick as possible, you can go to rawmotivations.com, click on the one-on-ones. We'd love to be able to work with you and see if you'd be a good fit for some of our Thriver community that I work with people inside there one-on-one to help get them out, help them get free as fast as possible. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, rate, review, share this episode with someone because you never know who might need to hear this message today.